Hello friends, Adam here with FED. Now we know knives are coming back. It's been confirmed, we can see it in the gameplay footage for Fire Emblem Engage. But should they come back is the question. So I asked you guys in a poll recently on the channel, and the majority of you said yeah, 70% of you said yes, you would like them to return. 3% say you don't like the idea of them returning, and 26% said you don't care. So most of you want them back, right? That's a good thing. I guess that they are. What made knives fun, though? That's the question. So what made them fun? And I think it's a big part of it is pointed out here in a comment from MidCottonwood86, who says, knives, while not the best, have always been fun, especially for animation reasons. The classes that use knives were always a treat to watch attack and crit, especially in Radiant Dawn, where I think they looked their best, even if the stats themselves were trash. Yeah, it's just funny, and that's a big complaint that we'll get back into in a minute. And they say more, but we're just going to stick to their first paragraph for now. And yeah, the cool factor. That's what makes knives as much fun to use as they are. The cool factor, am I right? You know, despite any statistical reason, I think knives will always be a welcome addition as long as the animations are flashy enough, like in Radiant Dawn or Fates. Specifically, Radiant Dawn, I think, has some really cool thief animations. Obviously less thief. We don't get to see many thief animations. More the rogue and whisper. Really cool animations there, and they look really cool. But aside from looks, gameplay's got to be considered in this discussion, of course. So first we have Artificial Ace Attorney. Either you spelled your name wrong, or you think Artificial. I mean, that means something that I'm just not. I don't know. So Artificial Ace Attorney says, being able to debuff your enemies and or otherwise deal scratch damage plus poison strike sounds like a fun tactical option. Yeah, Fates went the exact correct route in attempting to make daggers feel different from swords. A few of you did bring this up, and I think that is a huge problem with knives and daggers and stuff in Radiant Dawn, is that thieves and rogues and whispers kind of just felt like worse Myrmidons in that class line, except they could open doors and chests. I think Fates making it so their weapons were debuffing, had the debuffing effects, really made them feel distinct from any other weapon type. And we see that, they do that in Heroes too, right? That's their whole shtick is debuffing enemies. So I imagine we're going to see something similar to that in Fire Emblem Engage. I think we will see some debuffing. But I think that something like that, there needs to be some change to them that makes them feel different from swords. And again, Fates did that. Radiant Dawn kind of missed on that, and they just were kind of worse sword class that couldn't use the better swords, you know? But I think the biggest thing to consider when thinking about the return of these hidden weapons, knife, dagger, shuriken, all that, is how the enemies will use them. And this was probably the most talked about thing in the comments. I'm going to read a couple comments from you guys. First, we have Tyler Dunham, who says, depends on how the enemy use it. If it means that lunge poison strike ninjas are back, then a resounding no. And Moosey Moose says, initially I thought I hated daggers and knives, but really what I hated was the poison strike lunge combo. I think any new or returning weapon type is fine though. Yeah, I totally feel this, right? Poison strike lunge ninjas are super mean. Especially when you have multiple lunge ninjas all bunched together. It just destroys your entire game plan, and it makes for really awkward map moments that you need a specific build to really handle well. Sure, there's ways around it, I'm sure, or maybe you can just totally outright avoid enemies in certain situations that have this whole thing going on, but it does make for some really just terrifyingly hard moments in the game. So I don't think that skill combo will come back because it is kind of mean. I think intelligent systems, well, I don't know. Do they even playtest the harder modes of Fire Emblem? That's the question. I don't know. I'm sure they do to some extent, right? They have to. But yeah, that's just mean stuff, man. Poison strike, lunge, 1-2 range enemies is just stupid. Despite all of that, though, I will say that enemies having the ability to debuff the player is huge in reducing the effectiveness of low manning. And low manning being not using your full deployment of units, really. Essentially just having 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 really powerful units that you just kind of steamroll the game with. because of the way the numbers work in Fire Emblem, especially a lot of the like middle of the series title, like GBA games, FE9, Path of Radiance, it's really easy to beat the game by just having a few really overleveled, overpowered units, and it's generally considered like the easier way to play the game than having a full army of like balanced levels and stuff. But Fates kind of works around that by forcing you to use more units, because your big strong tank really isn't so defensively sound after a couple of shuriken or knife debuffs. They become a lot less able to just like sit in the middle of a group of enemies on an enemy phase, which again leads to more units being necessary to have success. So I think that's a good thing, and I really want the debuff from knives to come back. I'm not sure how I feel about them stacking. That's one thing that's kind of annoying. In Fates, they would stack on each other like endlessly, so you could get down to like, you have your 32 defense FE or something in Fates Conquest, get down to like 2 defense and just get murdered or something. That's obviously an extreme example, but that can happen. You can just end up with like no defense at all for a turn or whatever, and that's kind of annoying. But again, it does go into low manning being less effective, and I think that's overall a good thing for Fire Emblem, because Fire Emblem is about using and exploring characters and all that, and when you just kind of use a couple, I feel like it kind of cheapens the experience. So debuffing is cool. Hope it comes back for Engage. All right, last comment. Want to end on a positive note, and I really like this comment because it just kind of brings it all home, encapsulates what it really means for new weapon types and old weapon types to return and be added to the game. This is from NAHS24601, and they say, anytime there's options, we win. Smile. Ultimately, this is probably how any weapon addition to a one-player game should be seen. More weapons means more things to try out. Variety really is like the spice of life, as they say, when it comes to this kind of game. So yeah, what do you guys think? Do you think knives coming back is a good thing? I think ultimately I do. I think that knives coming back is ultimately a very strong thing for the series. I don't know. I just like more options. And make sure to comment your thoughts on that. Love to hear that. Make sure to like the video, please. Helps other people find the channel. And please help us reach 25,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I'd really appreciate it. So please subscribe if you haven't. We're going to be talking a lot about Fire Emblem. So if you like Fire Emblem, this is the place to sub. I promise. Won't let you down. There'll be plenty of content. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time, friends.